Hi, it's Mark Dempsey. I'm an author and journalist. I'd like to tell you about my experience now with a teacher, a person who is in the front lines of education every single day. And this particular teacher works at the Dallas Independent School District, and she's been doing so for the past 5 years. Well, she's just fed up, tired of the whole thing, tired of the mess, tired of the bureaucracy, tired of the underachievement, and tired of kids not learning. So if you're a parent or a student, this is the video for you. Listen up, I think you'll learn something. The very first thing that this teacher told me was that kids are not learning. Kids just simply aren't learning, and a lot of kids don't even care to learn. And I said, well, why is that? She said, well, because what we have done, we have created a school of professional test takers. That's right. And the subjects that are emphasized are math and English. So it came as no surprise to her when I told her that I had read an article that said that 75% of the high school students in Oklahoma did not know the name of our first president, George Washington. That's right, 75% did not even know that George Washington was our first president. When I told her that, she just laughed it off. She said, I believe it. And she said, why? She said, well, because that in schools today, civics, history, sociology, biology, and science, and all those things are no longer emphasized. And sometimes they're not even taught any longer. Because you see, kids are graded on math and English, and the school gets its report card based on how well those kids do in math and English. That's where a lot of the funding comes from. Teachers keep their jobs based on those disciplines, and therefore everything else is just thrown out the window. And so what we have are a bunch of professional test takers that are good at recalling information that will be later forgotten, but as far as creativity and imagination and critical thought and all those things, the things that really make a person well educated, well, that's just no longer the case. Because you see, teachers just aren't in the business of teaching that anymore, which is sad, very, very sad. Now, this particular teacher that I talked to, she's Hispanic, and she talked about the racial tension that was in the district of Dallas schools. Couldn't believe it. She said to me very bluntly, she said, African American kids, they sleep a lot in class, and they're verbally abusive. I mean, they'll just tell a white teacher off in a heartbeat. And she thought that some of the kids even came to school packing heat. That's what she told me. She said Hispanic kids don't have an excuse. Actually, they do have an excuse for not doing well in school. She said that their language skills aren't that great, and they don't have the support at home that African American kids have. But African American kids don't have any excuse, she told me, whatsoever for not doing well in school. You see? And I thought to myself, here's a Hispanic young woman really prejudging African American kids. Is that the right thing to do? Is she bringing in race appropriately here? I don't think the answer is yes. So what we have is a teacher, and I'm sure there are other teachers who judge kids based on their race instead of what they're actually doing in school. And they could very well prejudge these kids. So if an African American boy comes up with a great essay or does well on something that could be judged subjectively, would a Hispanic teacher or a white teacher give him the benefit of the doubt and give him a good grade? Many times that may not be the case because race plays a part in the decision making, at least for this particular teacher. She also said that a lot of kids need to be held back in a grade because they can't do the work, but they are promoted and promoted and promoted to higher and higher and higher grades. And I said, well, why is that? She said, well, because teachers don't want to fill out a 25-page report that would put the child in the same grade. And they don't want to battle the principal and the vice principal, and they don't want to battle parents because a lot of parents want to see their child promoted, even though they know that their kid can't do the work. You see, they don't want to believe that he can't do the work. So teachers say, forget it. I'm not going to fill out the form. I'm just not going to do it. And so the kid is promoted and promoted. And then eventually it comes to the point where he can't do any work, and then he drops out of school. And that's when he becomes a victim of bureaucracy and a victim of caring among teachers, parents, and also principals. She also said to me that kids cannot write. A lot of kids can't even write their own names. They can't do cursive. They cannot write a paragraph in cursive. They've got to have a keyboard. They've got to type it out. When I was a kid growing up, we always used to have that ribbon, you see, across the room with lower and uppercase letters. That's all gone now. That's all gone. So I guess when it comes time to sign a check, what do? Just initial it? Because they can't write their names? How ridiculous is that? You see? Anyway, none of this bodes well for minority kids, and none of it bodes well for America as a whole. Because as a country, we need to have smart, intelligent people that can do math and science, and they're able to read well and write well and have an understanding of the political process and sociology and all those things. But we don't. And we're not producing kids that have that understanding. And a lot of kids who graduate today, and I'm going to bet a lot of kids who graduate from the Dallas Independent School District that are 12th graders really have a 9th grade education. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. So when you see graduation ceremonies on television, or you read about them in the newspaper, and everyone's wearing their cap and gown, everyone's so proud and happy, remember, a lot of those kids got a 9th grade education instead of a 12th grade education. And that's what we're paying for. That's what we're funding in the public school system today. Anyway, I thought that you would enjoy this behind-the-scenes look at education here in Dallas. Of course, it could be anywhere, not just here in Dallas. And if you'd like to contact me directly, you are certainly more than welcome to. My email address is markd112@yahoo.com. That's markd112@yahoo.com. And thanks so much for listening.